Welcome to the Compact Murder podcast from compactmurder.com, the show where we explore murders, murderers, serial killers, and assassinations. This is episode 55, The Atlanta Ripper. Between 1911 and 1912, Atlanta was stalked by something unspeakable, a killer who crept through the humid southern nights, targeting young black women with a blade. Newspapers soon dubbed him the Atlanta Ripper, invoking London's infamous Whitechapel murderer, Jack the Ripper. The name stuck, and over a year of blood and fear followed. Depending on which historian you ask, the Ripper's tally ranged anywhere from 15 to 21 victims. None of their killers were ever caught. At the dawn of the 20th century, Atlanta was booming. Once devastated by the Civil War, the city had rebuilt itself into the commercial centre of the South. But beneath that surface, prosperity lay deep divides, racial, social and economic. The city's black population was growing rapidly, made up of freedmen and their descendants who had come seeking opportunity in the factories, laundries and as domestic workers. Yet segregation was absolute. Black residents lived in overcrowded neighbourhoods, faced discrimination from employers and found little protection from the police. It was against this tense backdrop that the killings began. The fear was instant, and so was the frustration. Church leaders and civic organisers begged city officials for better protection, for real investigators, for someone to care. But the response came too slowly and too late. Most historians trace the series of murders back to late May 1911. That's when a woman named either Belle Walker or Mary Walker, even her name got lost in the confusion, was found murdered near Garibaldi Street, her throat cut. 2 weeks later, another woman, Addie Watts, was found dead with eerily similar wounds. Newspapers, never ones to resist a grisly headline, began whispering about a Southern Jack the Ripper. The name Atlanta Ripper was also mentioned, and that one stuck. The Ripper whispers turned to screams on the 1st of July 1911. Lena Sharp was killed, and her daughter Emma Lou was attacked that same evening. Emma Lou survived, and she saw her attacker. She told police he was a tall, powerfully built black man, neatly dressed, wearing a broad-brimmed hat. That brief description remains one of the only clues ever recorded by someone who looked the Atlanta Ripper in the eye. Later that same month, another woman, Mary Yarborough, was murdered. She worked as a cook, and witnesses reported seeing a tall, slender black man, matching Emma Lou's description, fleeing the scene. The Atlanta Constitution described Mary as a beautiful and refined Negro girl, and declared that a serial killer was on the loose in the city. Just 10 days later, another name joined the list, Sadie Holly, or Hollis, depending on which paper you read. She was found near Atlanta Avenue, her throat cut like the others. On the 12th of July 1911, the Atlanta Constitution ran a front-page story screaming Jack the Ripper in bold type. It listed Holly as the 8th victim and printed a petition signed by both black ministers and white citizens demanding action from the city. The paper even urged officials to offer a reward. Police soon arrested a man named Henry Huff, but the evidence was paper-thin. He was released, and the murders continued. That same article also pointed to earlier killings from 1909 and 1910, murders of black women. Some thought could be connected. Modern historians doubt it, noting key differences in method and circumstance. Still, the true pattern of horror, the outdoor, nighttime throat cuttings, belongs unmistakably to 1911 and 1912. Week after week, the same grim pattern emerged. A woman disappeared. A body was found near a rail line or a dark street, always at night, always the same wounds. The victims were young, black or mixed-race women, neatly dressed, respectable, and often last seen walking home from work. Their throats were cut with a knife or razor. Sometimes their shoes were missing. By autumn, Atlanta was paralysed by fear. The killings seemed to cluster around the city's industrial areas, close to railway spurs and unlit streets where danger could easily hide. The final death toll depends on who you ask, 15, 20, maybe 21. but every number tells the same story: a city losing sleep, waiting for the next scream in the dark. Police made arrests, but no one was ever proven guilty. Besides Henry Huff, there was Todd Henderson, who was questioned after being seen with Sadie Holly. He, too, was released. Others were detained through late 1911 and 1912, yet the murders went on as if mocking the investigation. By March 1912, a Fulton County grand jury tried to calm the city by announcing that there was no single Ripper and that the murders were separate, unrelated crimes. But few people believed that. The pattern was too strong, the fear too deep. So how many women died? No one knows for sure. Newspapers often disagreed, sometimes attaching the Ripper name to any murder of a black woman, whether related or not. Most modern researchers accept at least 15 victims, possibly as many as 21, stretching into 1912 and even 1913. The most cautious estimate suggests the actual Ripper killings ran from mid-1911 to early 1912. The story played out differently across racial lines. White-owned papers leaned into the lurid Ripper headlines, while the black press and local churches focused on justice, safety, and the glaring lack of police protection. The Atlanta Constitution's July 12th issue printed a petition naming 17 murdered black women from 1909 to 1911, a desperate plea for help signed by both black pastors and white business leaders. Churches like Big Bethel hosted mass meetings, raised money for rewards, and did everything they could to protect their communities when the city would not. The murders slowed after that brutal summer of 1911, but they never really stopped. The Ripper name lingered in the press for years, slapped onto similar crimes well into 1912, and even onto threatening notes found in 1914. Whether those later cases were the work of the same man, or simply echoes of his legend, no one can say. As for who the Atlanta Ripper really was, theories still swirl. Some believe it was a single killer, a man haunting the city for over a year, following a clear victim profile and using the same weapon each time. Others think the Ripper wasn't one person at all, but several different killers, their crimes grouped together under a single terrifying nickname. And some suggest the possibility of copycat men inspired by sensational headlines, mimicking the crimes to throw off investigators or settle personal grudges. The truth may never be known. Much of the police paperwork is long gone, lost to time. What remains comes mostly from newspaper archives, and those reports were often contradictory. Even the victims' names changed from one issue to the next. Sadie Holly became Hollis, Belle Walker became Mary. Facts blurred into rumour, and rumour hardened into legend. The Atlanta Ripper case sits at the crossroads of race, fear, and early 20th century crime. It's the story of a community under siege and of a justice system that looked the other way. Long before the term serial killer existed, Atlanta lived that nightmare, a string of brutal, patterned murders that still haunt historians and true crime enthusiasts today. More than a century later, one truth remains unchallenged. The women of Atlanta's black community paid for the city's indifference with their lives. And whoever the Atlanta Ripper was, he walked away into the darkness, never named, never caught. I hope you enjoyed that episode of the Compact Murder Podcast from compacthistories.com. If you did, why not leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts? And while you're there, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. If you would like to support us more directly, please consider buying us a coffee. Head on over to compacthistories.com/murdercoffee to see how. Also, please check out our other Compact podcasts. You will find them all at compacthistories.com. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next time.